Oh man, the big ugly feud between the most powerful man and the richest man in the world over the big beautiful bill is the big story this week. Lots of bigs. Let's go over it. The bill isn't about perfection. Nobody thinks it's perfect. It's about survival, really. So if the Senate kills the bill, the majority of Americans, 60% of households, get slammed with a significant tax hike, according to the Tax Policy Center. If it passes, it delivers on the promises Trump ran on and won: funding for mass deportations of illegal immigrants, border wall funding, tax cuts on tips and overtime, and incentives for U.S. manufacturing and investment. Also, unleashing American energy. But Democrats are stoking fear over changes to Medicaid coverage. Take a listen.
Their bill will kick millions more people off their health care than we originally thought. Not only by attacking Medicaid, but by crippling the ACA, private insurance, and even Medicare now. Yesterday, it was 13.7 million people who would lose coverage. Today, it's as high as 16 million.
All right. Meanwhile, the other side says context matters over these benefits. The bill needs taxpayer funded. The bill ends taxpayer funded health care for illegal immigrants and requires able-bodied adults with no dependents who can work to work, at least part-time or engage in community service, to qualify for these federal benefits. Elon Musk has problems with it, mainly the cuts to electric vehicle incentives, and it's projected to add approximately $3 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years. Let's ask an expert about it, shall we? Jeffrey Small, partner of Retirement Income Sources, joins me now. Jeffrey, good to have you back. So let's start with the big, beautiful bill, shall we? And the billionaire backlash we've been watching unfold this week. Is the bill necessary to protect Americans, working Americans, or does it need a rethink in the Senate?
Well, I don't think that Elon should be complaining about the bill, except for the EV mandates that are taken out of it. I think that's the only thing he really has to complain about, because he's spoken about everything that this bill has and been pro this bill. So I'm not quite sure if this is staged or real, Alicia, but if Americans and the Senate don't want to give the biggest tax break to Americans in history, the people that benefit the most from this bill are the ones that make between $30,000 to $80,000 a year. Those are the folks that pay 80% of our taxes in terms of what we spend on an annualized basis. And so it's a little bit too pure for the senators or anybody in Congress to say, well, we collect $410 billion a year of a month in revenue, in tax revenue, $410 billion a month in revenue here. But we pay $80 billion a month in interest. It's a little too rich for them to say, you know what, we want to go back to the ways of what Biden was spending at almost $1 trillion every 90 days for the term that he was in office, versus maybe an extra 1.6 to 2 trillion a year. And so we're cutting off what Biden was spending in half, but we're significantly more efficient. So I think Americans deserve the largest tax break in history. And if I was in the Senate, I wouldn't want to be responsible for taking that away.
Right. Let's talk about the growth, the economic growth, and the adding trillions to the deficit. Is it worth it?
Well, I think it is. I mean, we've been running deficits since the late 60s, and, we peaked out at about the same deficit level right after World War II, when we had the huge government spend to marshal up to win World War II. And so, I think that what we're trying to do is inflate the economy to reduce our debt to GDP ratio. And that's kind of what the Fed's mission is right now. But because the economy is still really strong, we see things like unemployment stable for the last 3 months. And we see actual job openings going up month over month. Mm-hmm. And so, America is really open for business because the psychology of business has changed so dramatically with President Trump in office. And trillions of dollars are flowing into this country for reinvestment at this time, Alicia.
Yeah, so you have to factor in the economic growth this bill includes and sparks as well. You mentioned the Trump versus Musk conflict over the bill might be staged. What makes you think that? Let's talk more about that.
Well, Elon, he really hurt his brand by riding shotgun with President Trump all over the world and promoting him in the election. We had Democrats burning Democrat cars, right? We had liberals attacking liberally owned cars, the people that voted on the left, so to speak. And so he kind of made them go haywire. And so now I think he's trying to unpolarize those folks. But I think the damage has been done to the brand. I think Tesla's still a great stock. He's still the wealthiest guy in the world. He'll recover from this. They are the greatest AI play on the planet right now with the potential for robotaxis and everybody owning a robot to help around the house. I don't see those things changing due to his political action. But I do thank him for everything he's done. And I think he's done a great job. And I think at the end of the day, those two will kiss and make up.
Hopefully. I mean, he has enough money and power and clout to just let this settle. Move on. So the monthly jobs report that's out today. It shows the U.S. added 139,000 jobs to the economy in May, above expectations. The monthly unemployment, as you mentioned, stayed the same, 4.2%. And the job gains were American-born workers, not foreign-born. What does this tell you?
Well, this tells us that we're getting our house in order and we're telling the truth about the jobs report, unlike the last administration. And I don't want to bash, but the numbers were skewed due to illegal immigration and the hirings that were occurring in that regard. And so now we're getting back to a more organic reading or pulse on the jobs picture, which is what we really need to determine what our next step is. And it's what the Fed needs to determine when they should start to either lower rates or act aggressively to stabilize productivity.
What do you think the Fed will do? Do you think they'll cut interest rates soon? A lot of people are predicting it, but what do you think?
At a level 4.2% unemployment rate for the last 3 months, the Fed will be in a hold pattern. They'll probably look at reducing rates maybe the third quarter of this year at the earliest or the fourth quarter. But for the foreseeable 90 days, I don't see rates changing until we see the true impact of tariffs and the resolution of tariffs. And we'll see the impact on the major economic indicators the Fed watches starting in August and September, Alicia. That's when the Fed can say, okay, here's what the barometer is telling us on the tariffs. And are the tariffs resolved? And is this going to be an issue? And has productivity dropped? And has unemployment gone up? And those are the things they'll be looking at to lower rates. But for now, we're in a holding pattern.
Speaking of tariffs, that jogs my memory. Elon Musk said that the tariffs are going to cause a recession. Do you agree?
Well, I think the tariffs could cause a recession, absolutely, going into the third quarter. But, some would argue that we're going to have negative GDP. We just had negative GDP recently in the last quarter of, negative 0.3%. And so that might happen again, which means we only need 6 months of negative growth to be in a recession. And so could tariffs do that? They have the potential to do that. But right now we're under a reprieve of tariffs. And so we don't really have full tariffs in action. If we go to full tariffs in action, there's no doubt that we will have, definitely a recession, a longer term recession too, as well, until it's resolved.
All right. Appreciate your insight as always. Jeffrey Small, partner of Retirement Income Sources. Thank you. Have a great weekend.